See housing continue to slow down given the elevated interest rate outlook. So new home sales probably slow down. Investment spending is likely going to drop meaningfully. I mean, you're already seeing that across a range of surveys. And I think employment will be the next thing that moderates. Job finding rates have collapsed. Quits rates are collapsing. I mean, this is it's not a good situation. So I don't like playing this sort of ridiculous game about 50% chance over the next 12 months. I mean, we're in it. Mm-hmm. We're in it.
Trump's economic strategy, like everything he says, boils down to three things. Close your eyes, ignore the data and experts, and blindly believe everything he says. Honestly, the last guy who demanded that much blind loyalty while the country tanked had a little mustache and yelled in German. Now, you might be thinking, if MAGA lost their minds over gas and egg prices, then spent 4 years blaming Joe Biden for single-handedly wrecking the economy, which, for the record, he didn't, the market hit record highs, unemployment hit historic lows, and inflation came down, then surely they'd be furious about Trump casually saying that a recession is no big deal. Right? Well, not so fast, because before you can even say man-made recession, MAGA was already out there spinning Trump's recession comments like they were part of some secret 4D economic master plan.
I felt like he was trying to not give Kristen Welker, the journalist who was interviewing him there, what she wanted. If you look at the jobs report this week, 177,000 jobs added. That beat expectations. That was strong for the last month. If you look at GDP in the first quarter, you saw exports are up. You saw that investment is way up, 21% up. Private domestic investment. There are a lot of really good things happening in the economy, and I think he was trying to just basically be contrarian with her.
By saying that there's going to be a recession?
He didn't say there's going to be a recession. Okay. No, he didn't say there'd be a recession.
I mean, I don't know, what did he think Kristen Welker wanted?
He did what Donald Trump does, which is he said, yeah, okay, but what he was not affirming her point. He was using it as a bridge word to the next point. He said everything's fine. Yeah. He said everything's fine and we'll all be okay. I would not have taken Donald Trump's statement the way the media did, which was to say he said a recession would be okay. He did not, in any definitive terms, say a recession would be okay for the economy. So the media getting all spun up over the word okay in the middle of a sentence to a bridge where he said everything is fine. That was not what he was saying. And so I think that we need a little bit of clarity here to give the president the opportunity to say that was not what he said.
Right.
Trump called this a transition period, but here's the thing. Who said we needed one? When Biden and Harris left office, real GDP was still growing. In fact, the fourth quarter of 2024 clocked in a healthy 2.4 increase. However, when Donald, art of the dumbass Trump, took office, he slapped tariffs on everything like it was a piñata, and boom, GDP contracted by 0.3% in the first quarter of 2025. That was the first economic decline in 3 years, something we didn't see under Biden and Harris.
Well, that's not great for us.
And if you thought that Trump would even take a sliver of responsibility since, the whole mess started with the so-called Liberation Day tariffs, think again.
Look at the stock market in this case, it says how bad a situation we inherited. This is a quarter that we looked at today, and we took all of us together. We came in on January 20th. So this is Biden. And you could even say the next quarter is sort of Biden because it doesn't just happen on a daily or an hourly basis.
Sure, Jan.
Trump lights the economy on fire and then says, wow, can you believe what Biden did? That's not a leader, that's a coward in a red hat. President Truman used to say, the buck stops here. But with Trump, the buck stops with literally anyone who isn't him. But that's the Trump playbook. Take credit for stuff that he didn't do, blame everyone else for the disasters that he caused, and then lie about both.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now, and I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything.
If you've ever searched for your name or address in Google, it is shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and other people search sites collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. Incogni hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni also continuously monitors if your data is put back onto these databases requesting repeated removals. This way, keeping them off it forever, so you get way less spam calls, spam emails, and get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. That's incogni.com/GABES and use code GABES at checkout. That's GABES. Just listen to how Fox News is already framing this whole mess.
I get two things out of that. One, you get the sense that the Democrats, which is the media, the liberal media, that they don't want to see him succeed. Like, first, you get that part. And two, that they're going to take what we know is going to be, as he calls it, a transition period. Anytime, I mean, all of us, we've had budgets in our own families, and we have to make cutbacks. It's a little painful, but you do those because at the end of it, it's going to be better for you, right? This idea of deferred gratification, which is not a real something that Democrats love to talk about. A lot of people don't like to talk about, but
especially government.
But these are things we've never seen done before. This complete, the tariffs and completely, as you said, flipping the script on our trading partners, and also getting out the corruption. And so I just think, I don't know. I think I watched that interview and I just think, she's not really excited for what the possibilities can be.
I think sometimes it's framing. I think had she put it this way, there are those who say this is going to be swimming. It's going to be great. Everything's going to move in the quickest direction. And then there are those who suggest that we may be in for a bumpy ride. Are you okay with some turbulence along the way? I think he would have handled the answer a little bit better, because I think he is rightfully, in my opinion, skeptical of the media. Even though Kristen Welker is a fine journalist, she does a pretty great job, I think, in a lot of ways. But that said, I think you nailed it. I think a lot of people on the other side of the aisle of the president are not rooting for this country to do great right now.
That's right. Forget the actual policies, the tariffs, the contracting GDP, and the job losses. No. The real problem is the liberal media. Because nothing triggers a recession like pointing out that we're already in one. And again, this was entirely avoidable. Kamala Harris literally laid it out in advance. She warned people that if Trump returned to office, we'd see a manufactured crisis.
Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse, mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you, because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
However, too many voters brushed it off thanks to a perfect storm of denial, disinformation, racism, misogyny, and some good old-fashioned, well, I just don't like her vibes.
The last 4 years, there have been tremendous economic wins, and you've just laid out a big plan. But still, polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression when you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants. Ask the auto workers how he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past. He has an agenda that would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime. an agenda that would include cutting off access to small business loans for small businesses, an agenda that includes tariffs to the point that the average working person will spend 20% more on everyday necessities and an estimated $4,000 more a year on those everyday necessities, to the point that top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan with his and said,